Some of you may not be able to see this, but there's a little box made out of tape here, and the videographer asked if I stand here because I'm too hard to film if I'm moving around. So he's trying to contain me or throw me. And he's even gone as far as to put a invisible electrical shield around me. So if I go to step out of it, I'll get shot. Okay, enough of that funny business. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Just for a moment, would all the mothers in the audience please stand so we can recognize you? Thank you so much for everything you do and all the care that you put into raising children so that they can find themselves in a state of well-being. It's just absolutely incredible. And for those of us, or all of us, just stop and think about the importance of a mother. I mean, where would we be without mothers? Literally. If somebody can provide me an answer for that question, you get 10% off the offering next week. Mothers are wise, they have an intuitive sense, they know stuff that none of us know. And I ask for advice for the children in the audience. When your mother tells you to do something and you say why, and she says because, and you say because why, and she says because I said so, there's only one thing left to say, and that's okay. That ends the conversation. Or when she says, I'm telling you for the last time. Okay, just do what you're supposed to do. I talked to my cousin Ozzy this week, and he was telling me that Olga Norberg, his next door neighbor, recently made a visit to the State University to visit her son Peter Norberg. Peter had started school last fall, and he was coming home every weekend to kind of catch up with his mother. Then all of a sudden he quit coming home, and it had been a month and a half since she had seen him. So Olga decided to surprise Peter and drive to the college town and visit him one bright early Sunday morning. So she gets to the town, she goes to his apartment, she knocks on the door, somebody opens the door, it's a young lady. And she says, is this Peter Norberg's apartment? And the young lady says, yes, my name is Allison. She says, well, my name is Olga, I'm Peter's mother. Allison yells out for Peter to come to the living room, move on to the front door. He sees his mother, and he is shocked, almost to the point of fainting. He immediately goes into this rapid conversation with his mother. Oh, Allison is my roommate. We share rent. We're kind of like brother and sister. Just trying to explain to his mother that there's nothing funny going on here because he knows it would offend her Lutheran code of moral decency. So they invite Olga in. Allison and Peter go out to the deli, get some food, they come back, they have lunch. It's a little bit awkward. When it's all said and done, Olga gets in her car and drives home. Well, a couple days later, Allison realizes that she can't find the sterling silver gravy ladle that her grandmother gave her. It's an antique and very expensive. They looked and looked and looked, they couldn't find it, and finally both Peter and Allison came to the conclusion that maybe Peter's mother took it. So Peter sits down and writes his mother a letter. Dear Mom, I'm not saying you did, and I'm not saying you didn't. But Allison's sterling silver gravy ladle is missing, and I wonder if you know anything about that. 3 days later, Peter gets a letter. Olga writes, Dear Peter, I'm not saying you're sleeping with Allison. And I'm not saying you're not. But if Allison was sleeping in her own bed, she would have found the sterling silver gravy ladle under her covers. Those mothers, I'll tell you. Today we're going to continue with our series on the art of creating reality. And there is an art to it, there's an art to everything. You have your very own reality. It is unlike anybody else's. It's yours, it's unique, it's for you and you alone. Your reality is made up of everything you've been taught, everything you've been told, everything you come to believe about life and the world around you, and how you relate to all of that stuff. That is your reality. It can only be experienced by you because it's related to you. Now, your reality has truth in it, and it has some untruths. And most of the worries, the fears, the anxieties, the disturbances, the disruptions in our life come about as a result of not understanding the truth of the matter. Our reality dictates our well-being, it dictates our comfort, it dictates the quality of life we have. But if there's something within our reality that we believe to be true but isn't, it can cause us a great deal of anguish. For instance, the subject of God. Let's focus on God for a moment. Who is God? What is God? Where is God? What does God want of me? Will God be there to provide for me in my time of need? Is God happy with me? Is God proud of me? Is God pleased with me? And the big question that we hesitate to ask because we're so afraid the answer won't come back the way we want it to, does God like me? Does God like me? Now, can you imagine posing that question to a religious authority or a religious leader of some sort? Does God like me? And that person's saying, while looking you straight in the eye with complete conviction, no. God doesn't like you. That's what I was taught in my childhood religion. God doesn't like me because I'm a sinner by nature, because I'm unworthy in the eyes of God. Now, when I first heard this, I was 4 years old, and I'm thinking, man, what did I do? I know it took me a little longer than usual to potty train, but it did great, God. And if you're told that over and over and over, as you're growing up, you begin to believe it. That becomes your reality. The reality was, I was not a good person, God was not happy with me, I wasn't worthy, I was a sinner, and if that is what I believe, that becomes my reality, and that is how my life plays out. Feeling that way about me, you can see the big impact that has on your reality. When I was growing up, the job that's impressed on me is the one in front of the bulletin. I put this on last week because I was going to do the lesson on this last week, but it didn't happen. But anyway, it was this picture of God, this image of God, a very big, strong man with a stormy face, pointing an accusing finger or a punishing finger out at somebody, and I always felt that he was pointing at me. It was a God in the sky sitting on his throne, looking down on all creation with a bit of dissatisfaction, and figuring out what kind of revenge and what kind of punishment he could lay out for us sinners. Now, once again, if I was taught that, I was told that, that became my reality, and that's what I live by. Now, that is an example of something within our reality that's not true, that's not based on a positive, uplifting, supportive message, but something that tears us down and contains us. It's almost like the box here that has an electrical shield around you. I don't dare go out and do what I want to do because God will punish me. Now, the truth of the matter is that there's an energy in the universe, there's a spirit in the universe, there is an incredible God essence in the universe that is everywhere present. Take the metaphor of the ocean, for instance. Think of the ocean as God. Think of a drop of water in the ocean as ourselves individually. You take a drop of water from the ocean, it has the same makeup, the same chemical base as the ocean itself. It's exactly the same. You can take a drop of water out of the ocean, but you can't take the ocean out of the drop of water. And that's what God is. God is the ocean. Each of us individually is a part of that huge God movement, and God is within us. Now, Jesus referred to this as the Holy Spirit. It's known in all other religions. It's not exclusive to Christianity. In Japan, they call it Chi. The Native Americans call it the Great Spirit. But it is an essence of our being. Holy Spirit literally means the perfect, intelligent, excellent, vital essence of our being. Now think about that. The perfect, intelligent, excellent, vital essence of our being. That is what we are made of. In the book of Ephesians, it says it is in God that we live and breathe and have our being. It's not because of God or because of God blessing us Or it's in God. We live and breathe and have our being. And Jesus says, I am in God, God is in me. You are in God, God is in you. When we come to realize that and fully embrace that and realize that we are an expression of the divine spirit, that is the light in darkness, that will provide us a way when we are so lost we don't know where to turn, that will give us the healing we need from any sort of emotional upset that we've covered in the past, that Holy Spirit will provide for us what we need to move through life with a great sense of peace and well-being. When we totally understand and embrace that, we turn to it in time of need, and it is there to provide for us. Now, in the art of creating reality, we have two different concepts of God before us this morning. We have the God of the Old Testament that's on the front of the bulletin, and we have the perfect, intelligent, excellent, vital essence of your being that's everywhere present. Two different images, two different concepts of God. And you get to choose which one is going to fit into your reality. Which God is of your reality. And that doesn't end with God, it ends with your self-image, your self-awareness. What is your reality of that? Do you accept yourself? Or is your reality still made up of old talks and old tapes and old teachings that you're not as good as you should be, that you should be something a little bit different, and you just don't quite fit that mold of perfection that God wanted you to? You know, when you do not feel good about yourself, when you have the slightest degree of inferiority complex or low self-esteem or unworthiness, just the slightest degree, it's like a smudge on that lens that you look out on reality with. And that smudge on the lens that you look out in the world, you look at life through, it's a smudge on your reality. Things just aren't the same. So as we continue with this series on the art of creating reality, just know that you have that power and that there's much, much more to life than you're experiencing at this moment, and that much, much more is good.